Hello. Welcome to our first ever Table for Four virtual luncheon. We're coming to you from the beautiful Teen Center for Excellence in Ferguson. Thank you for joining us and for your dedication to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater St. Louis and to our young women. I hope you enjoy the wonderful virtual meal we've selected for you. My name is Robin Heiger, and I'm the SVP of Strategic Alliances and Inclusion at Enterprise Bank and Trust, and I am so proud to be one of the co-chairs for this event. When faced with the challenges of the coronavirus and potentially canceling our event, we women got creative. We know that community and friendships are necessary during tough times. Connection is part of our DNA, hence today's virtual event. We also know that when times get tough, the vulnerable, like our members and their families, get hit the hardest. This is a time when we can't become self-focused. This is a time when we need to reach out in any way we can to let others know we are here for them and care about them. The act of reaching out and making a difference will also have a great impact on us. We won't feel so alone, and we will feel empowered that we can make a significant difference in someone's life. That's why during this virtual event, I am asking you to consider making a donation. Please go to www.bgcstl.org/donate and make a gift at any level and help us reach our goal of $130,000. We have $50,000 left to go. Thank you in advance for your generosity. Before I hand our event over to Erica Williams to introduce our speaker, I want to extend a few thank yous. To my co-chairs, Erica and Emily Pitts, thank you for your leadership. To our committee, thank you for your engagement and for working to make this event special. To Lee Haynes and everyone else at Boys and Girls Clubs, you rock. Can't believe we pulled this off in 24 hours. Kathy Lintz, we were so looking forward to honoring you, and we still will. Your dedication to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater St. Louis deserves our thanks and appreciation. To Layla Green, congratulations on winning the Joan Ellen Silber Award for volunteerism and leadership. What a terrific accomplishment. The team at Boys and Girls Clubs will make sure you have your day in the sun. And lastly, to those watching, and those that have supported our youth, past and present, thank you again for tuning in, for considering a gift at any level, and for your continued efforts in helping us deliver great futures for our youth. Erica?
Thank you, Robin. And so, hello, my name is Erica Williams, and I'm a talent acquisition manager at BJC Healthcare. And I am honored to also be a co-chair of this virtual event. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Mona Dixon. Mona and her family lived on the streets and moved from homeless shelter to homeless shelter until she turned about 13 years old. But that didn't stop her. A few short years after receiving the coveted Boys and Girls Club of America National Youth of the Year Award, she was awarded over $100,000 in scholarships and honored by President Barack Obama in the Oval Office. At 18, Mona was also named one of the most influential Black women alongside Oprah and Michelle Obama by Essence magazine. This all led to being in the Boys and Girls Club public service announcement with over 20 celebrity alumni, including national spokespersons Denzel Washington and Jennifer Lopez, being featured on the national media and starring in a national commercial with Mark Wahlberg for Taco Bell Foundation for Teens. Mona was later appointed by President Barack Obama to serve as the youngest member of the United States Presidential Community Service Committee, alongside 4 other distinguished individuals. Mona, now today at 27, is pursuing her doctoral degree in organizational leadership and empowering others by speaking for corporate companies, schools, youth organizations, fundraisers, graduations, parent organizations, and homeless shelters. It is our distinct honor to have Mona with us today. We thank you for your willingness to share your story and look forward to hearing how we can help others just like herself. Please join me in welcoming Mona.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be sharing my story with you today in order to raise money for our kids right here in the greater St. Louis and their Boys and Girls Club. So it's a pleasure, and like I always say about Boys and Girls Club, we're always there to adapt and still make a difference and still be here to take care of the things that are going on in our community. As she mentioned, I was homeless for actually half my life, and I remember my mom had my sister at 16 years old, me at 17 years old, and my brother not too long after that. And we would go into dumpsters and we would pull out cardboard boxes because that would be our bed for the night. And my mom, she didn't have much, but she had her jacket, and she would take that off and try to cover my two siblings and I to try to keep us as warm as possible in this situation. But despite where we live, my mom always told me that my education was going to be important, and that was going to be the thing that got us out of this cycle of homelessness. So despite where we lived, I remember having this Ziploc baggie full of school books, and I would read them and imagine myself as a character to kind of make myself feel safe in that type of situation. And as you could imagine, being homeless was hard, but trying to get to school every day as a young kid was even harder for us because we didn't have enough money for public transportation. So my sister and I, we would have to sneak on and look out for officers and avoid getting caught and getting a ticket that would cost more than our bus fare in the first place. And once I got to school, I wondered, how did these teachers think that I could focus on vocabulary or science or math when I was thinking about where my next meal was coming from, or if my family was okay, or better yet, where am I even going to sleep at night? And it was even harder when teachers would ask questions like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And all these kids would raise their hands and say what they wanted to be, and the teacher would give them all these words of encouragement. But when I gave my answer, it was almost as if I could see doubt in their eyes, like, how could you possibly want to be something like this and you don't have a support system? How could you possibly want to do something like this and you don't have two parents at home? Or better yet, how could you possibly want to do something like this and you don't even have a place to lay your head at night? But my mom, she taught me that it wasn't going to be about my obstacles that made me special, but the way that I overcame these obstacles. And I remember when we first were able to get our first apartment, and just so happened to be behind a Boys and Girls Club, and all my friends would say, Mona, come to the club, come to the club. And I would always tell them, no, I can't come because I got to go home and I got to help my mom with things. But in reality, I knew that going to the Boys and Girls Club would cost me something, and I didn't know what that something was, but I knew that something would be too much for my family to afford. I knew that my mom, even if it was $1, she could spend it on toilet paper or toothpaste or laundry detergent from the dollar store. But one day, I don't know what got inside me, but it gave me the courage to go to the Boys and Girls Club, and I said, what does it take for me to become a member here? And it was the lady at the front desk, and she said, you have to bring back this application form and this $20 membership fee. And I said, okay, and I was just gonna walk out, because I knew that I couldn't afford $20. And it was almost as if that lady sensed that. And she said, you know what, come here. And she just gave me the application form. And she said, just bring this back and we'll take care of the rest. And I talk about how that was the best day of my life because she paid that $20 membership fee for me, and it changed the rest of my life. I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club, and I was welcome to come there every single day, and I had a family. I was taught all of the life skills that I needed in order to be successful, whether that was joining programs like Power Hour that allowed me to get my homework done, and the computer lab was open till 9 p.m. every single night so I can get ahead in my classes while I was at the club. And then we had different programs like Smart Moves and Money Matters that taught me about financial literacy. Smart Moves that taught me about how to say no to drugs and how to deal with those peer pressures that our kids have to deal with on a daily basis. But most importantly, the Boys and Girls Club provided me with all the resources that I needed to be successful. It eliminated all of those excuses to say, I don't have a pencil to do my homework, or I don't have a laptop, or I don't have Wi-Fi to do my homework at home, because every single thing that I needed was right there at the Boys and Girls Club. If I needed a meal, I knew that I would no longer be hungry because I had that right there at the Boys and Girls Club. And because of my club, I went on and I was able to graduate from high school, third in my high school class. And then it allowed me to become the National Youth of the Year for Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And this was the greatest honor ever, because before I was ashamed of my story. I was ashamed to say that I was homeless and that I lived on the streets. But now I can use this story to empower others. I can use this story to give hope to young kids and let them know that because I did it, they can do it too. And I could be a role model for all those 4 million Boys and Girls Club kids all over the world and show them that if they come to this place, they'll always be safe. They'll always have a family. They'll always have somewhere to go where there are people who care about them and their life and their well-being and how far they're going to go in life. And being National Youth of the Year, it was definitely an honor. This gave me so many experiences that I never would have thought that I would have had if I never walked into the Boys and Girls Club. As she mentioned, I was able to be recognized by President Obama in the Oval Office when I was 17 years old. And before then, people always ask me, Mona, what did you say when you stood in front of him? And I'm like, nothing. And I say this because I was so, I don't know, I'm still at a loss for words to explain that experience that I had there with him. You know, just to be there and see that interaction between him and, of course, Mr. Denzel Washington was an amazing experience for a 17-year-old or anybody for that matter. But even more important was that 4 years before then, when I was 13 years old, I was living in a homeless shelter. So if I would have shared with anybody, you know, one day I'm gonna go stand in the Oval Office with the President of the United States, no one would believe that. And frankly, I wouldn't even have believed that for myself, but the Boys and Girls Club always believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for my Boys and Girls Club. And other opportunities that I've had, you know, doing that commercial with Mark Wahlberg and raising over $1 million to help more teens graduate from high school, especially from the Boys and Girls Club, was a blessing because not only was I paving the way for my own future, but other young kids as well. The Boys and Girls Club changes the lives of young kids. The Boys and Girls Clubs invest in their futures. The Boys and Girls Club allows kids to reach their fullest potential and allows them to become whoever they want to be, whether that's the next teacher, the next lawyer, the next president of the United States. And today we're asking you to invest in these children. Today we're asking you to not give a handout, but a hand up to these kids. Kids are the most innocent humans that we have here, and we're asking you to make a difference in their lives today. I'm only one of those stories that you will hear about from these Boys and Girls Club kids, but they need your help. They need your hand. They need your guidance, and they need your investment. And yes, we're asking you to donate today, but also come visit the Boys and Girls Club. Come see what they're doing. Come take a tour so that you can be a donor or that you can be a volunteer or a board member. But definitely come check out these Boys and Girls Clubs here in the greater St. Louis areas. And as we move forward, I want to kind of describe to you what your dollars would be giving to these Boys and Girls Club kids here. And the first level is the $5,000 mark. And this one provides Boys and Girls Clubs with a paid membership and an internship supporting their career and educational goals. The next level is $2,500. And this provides academic tutoring for Boys and Girls Club kids. The next level is $1,000, and this is where you can become a member of the Women's Leadership Circle and help support the Dropout Prevention Program, Be Great, Graduate for kids. The next level is $500, and this enables one boy or one girl to attend the annual college tour. The next is the $250 level, and this provides 2 girls the opportunity to participate in Smart Girls. And the next level is $100, and this provides a dental and eye exam for 1 boy or 1 girl. And the last level provides club memberships at $50 for 2 girls from underserved communities. But as I mentioned to you today, every single dollar counts. So whether that's $1, $5, $100, or some of you out there, even $1 million, this will help these Boys and Girls Club kids reach their full potential and become whoever they want to be. So on this, you can click the donate button, or you can also visit www.bgcstl.org/donate. And I'll repeat that one more time for you. So that's www.bgcstl.org/donate. So you can click that donate button right now, or you can visit that website. But once again, we want to thank you for being with us today for our virtual luncheon, and thank you for supporting Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater St. Louis. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you.